Hey everybody, I just, man, I don't even know what I just witnessed. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is a movie that doesn't deserve a normal HOIT Abbott movie review. It does not deserve that. It deserves an extended review, at least 12 or 15 minutes. If you've not seen the movie, I don't even need to, you know. This review will contain spoilers. Um, wow. Tarantino, this is his ninth film. He said he's done after 10. Um, Maybe there's some sort of loophole there where he can, be done with filmmaking, but he can still write the scripts and everything. Um, but man, he has done it again. He defies all odds and puts out this movie that at the beginning of the year I was like, that sounds fun, and interesting and mysterious, It's not an easy topic to handle, the murder of Sharon Tate. This deranged lunatic, Charles Manson. And honestly, the movie handled the topic extremely well. It just put out light hints and very light, creepy tones. It did not oversell the mystery and the overall feel and the creepiness of that dramatic effect of the murder. It wasn't entirely a main focus. It was just more about life in Hollywood and how these three protagonists, Sharon Tate, Rick Dalton, and Cliff Booth, deal with that. I just don't see how. I don't know how anybody could do this topic better than Tarantino. He handled this extremely well. And this already had a fantastic cast out of the gate, Of course, Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, you have Kurt Russell for a bit in there. We have a kind of close, it's honestly a decent representation of Bruce Lee in the movie. Of course, it's not Bruce Lee, but they're mimicking Bruce Lee. They're playing Bruce Lee, is what I mean. But he was great. And of course, you have Al Pacino in there. And it already had a phenomenal cast out the gate. And it picks up. The movie just picks up and it just keeps going. It just keeps on going. Just gets even more energetic and satisfying and amazing. And there's some crazy emotions in this movie. You might have seen some of the trailers. When Leonardo DiCaprio is shooting this sort of western type show. He's this bad guy named Caleb. He's playing as a bad guy named Caleb. He does this improv that just blows everybody away and blows me away as a viewer. And he even improvises and throws this little girl on the ground. Of course, she's fine. She has, shoulder pads. And then the girl walks up to him and whispers in his ear, and she says, "That was the greatest acting I've ever seen in my whole life." My heart just was, oh, man, it was just oozing and just like, oh, it's such a nice moment. And you see the emotion on his face, because he's going through a rough spot in this movie. His character, Rick Dalton. He used to have that show, Bounty Law, I believe. Yeah, Bounty Law. And he wanted to do a movie career, and that sort of messed up the whole show, and he got the show obviously canceled. And now he's in a rough spot. He can't find he can't find a whole lot of work, and when he can't find a whole lot of work, Cliff can't. I'm sorry, Cliff can't find a whole lot of work. 'Cause of course, Cliff is his stunt double. Um, and it's just super powerful. When the little girl tells him that. 'Cause it's so empowering and endearing, and it means so much to him to just have anybody say that to him after the struggles that he's been going through. Um, getting teary eyed just talking about that scene. That was incredible scene. Quentin Tarantino, fantastic scene, man. Um, Speaking of Cliff Booth, he has such a cool story in this movie. He's basically being hounded by these hippie girls that live in this sort of trailer park area where Cliff used to do work on Bounty Law with, of course, Rick Dalton. Um, and these girls have this blind man that Cliff knows. He's like an old friend. And it's so, so weird and so fun at the same time. They're like, you need to leave. And then at one point, this one guy even pops his tire on his car. And then there's just this lingering shot of him. It doesn't linger for too long, but I just love how it just centered on the car. And it just showed him go to the trunk, open it up, and then get the tire iron and a spare tire. And then he was just like, fix it. And the dude's like, no, F you. And then he just goes and freaking nails him in the face with a nice big old punch, and then just keeps punching him 2 or 3 times. To the point where I honestly thought the guy was dead. He isn't, and he tells him to fix the car, and he manages to get away from the hippie girls. But then they come back to him and Rick at the end of the movie, and it's so action packed because Cliff has this dog. The dog takes out one of the culprits, one of the hippies. Cliff takes out another. I mean, bashes her head like right on over the freaking fireplace and on just walls and posters, glass, just you name it, man. Sorry about that notification on my phone. I just can't think of a better way for this to have been handled, because there's this cool moment at the beginning of the movie where, they're talking about Rick Dalton being in this Nazi movie and torturing a whole bunch of Nazis. They bring this back at the end of the movie as the final culprit is trying to slip away from the house, and she lands in the pool, and Rick Dalton just gets out, grabs the flamethrower, and torches her, and he even tells he even tells Sharon Tate's husband, he's like, I burned her to a crisp, man. With a flamethrower. That was great. I really loved that callback. That was very well done. Sharon Tate has a really cool story in this as well. She's not too prominent in it, but she's prominent enough to where I really enjoyed her character and of course her role, because we all know what's going to happen to her. It does. I will say this right now. It does not show her murder on screen for those of you who stuck around, even though you haven't seen it. They don't show the murder. It ends with Rick and her husband and her walking into her house. We all know what happens next. Also, by the way, I just want to mention this real quick. There was 4 hippie culprits. only 3 of them went in, and one of them stayed behind. And the one that stayed behind was actually Robin from Stranger Things 3. I just really love that cameo. That was great. Um, that was fun to see. Um, but yeah, it was just such an empowering scene. At the end with them going into the house because we know what's gonna happen next. And it's sort of heartbreaking because after all they've been through. But at least Rick and Cliff, even though they don't know it yet, they do get to say final goodbyes. Before Cliff is taken to the hospital for his injuries in the fight against the hippies. Anyway, back to Sharon Tate's role. She goes to see a movie that she's in, which is great. I just loved that, how she went up to the ticket booth. She's like, a ticket for one, please, and there's like 75 cents. She's like, what if I'm in the movie? And then she just makes up this whole ploy that I'm in this movie. I'm this person in this other movie. So can you let me go inside and see this movie that I'm in? And then they're like, oh yeah, sure. And then they don't really pay her any mind. And this, I don't know, I just thought that was a really cool element, how they show her amazement and her pride and in herself, that she makes it on the poster of the movie, and she goes to the inside, of course, watches the movie, and whenever she's on screen, she falls. She's like, I'm the klutz, at the ticket booth. Whenever she falls in the movie, the audience gives some laughs, and it's good to see her enjoy that. They really, I don't know too much about Sharon Tate, but the way this movie played her off, it really made her, seem like a good person. It might just be Margot Robbie's charm and just how just about every single role I've seen Margot Robbie in, I love her. But man, she just had such a great story in this, and just literally every single character in this movie just touched me in some way. Whether you're talking about the hippies, Kurt Russell's character, the Bruce Lee guy. This is a phenomenal movie. It's by far my favorite Quentin Tarantino film. I love Pulp Fiction, but this movie is really good. You guys need to check it out. I'm glad I got to do this extended review for you guys. I know it's not too extended, but I just want to do something special because this is a special movie. Go out and see this in theaters. Enjoy it. Come back, watch the review. Thank you all for watching. Goodbye.